Another, in my opinion, almost perfect fight, and I'm putting my matchmaker hat on here. I saw Daniel Dubois saying he's had his building fights and he just wants big fights now. The name that he called out obviously was Fabio Wardley. I mean, on paper, what a fight that would be. Two heavy hitters at the top of the division. Wardley Dubois. Do you have any complaints at that fight at all?
I'm hearing more Daniel Dubois against Zhile Zhang, which has been mentioned for a while. And I saw big Philip Hergovich in Germany looking extremely fit and in great shape. So who knows how this is all the dominoes will fall. But obviously, Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois is an incredible fight. But then, so is Tyson Fury against a Wardley or a Dubois. Again, there are so many. We won't talk AJ. Obviously, he's going through his grieving period with the tragedy that happened before the end of last year, which was so shocking and so heartfelt by so many in the boxing community. That's and Sin are wonderful, wonderful men that we've lost way, way too soon. So for AJ, I know he's back in the gym, which is great for his mental and physical health. But let's not talk about Joshua at the moment. He's just another one that could come into the mix. But let's leave him out of it, as Eddie rightly said. We shouldn't be talking boxing with him at the moment. But if you look at all the others, there's 10 or 15 that could just fight each other. There could be a series. I mean, imagine them in a big prize fighter tournament. But you want to sort of see those matchups just made throughout 26 and 27. The heavyweight division is incredibly strong. Queensberry have got the majority of them. Wardley Dubois a perfect fight. But I think that they may give Fabio a slightly nicer defense of his WBO title. He was handed it after the Parker fight, which I think is always a bit of a shame for fighters. They want to win it in the ring. So I think it'd be nice to have a good defense, maybe at the O2 for Fabio. And I think Daniel Dubois is a very dangerous defense first up. So I think a Dubois Zhang, maybe a Wardley Hergovich or a Wardley another. Lawrence Sokoli's banging on the door. He wants Agit Kabayel. He wants a world title shot and deserves it. And as I said, there's others. There's Tony Yoka who looked good recently. So there's a lot of good stories. Maybe he'll fight Joe Joyce in a repeat of their old feud. You could come up with a list of 10 heavyweight fights. I could, and we'd all go and see them, wouldn't we? So let's leave it to Frank and the Queensberry team and the others that are involved around the world who've got the rest of them. And let's just stand back and watch the heavyweight fireworks because I think 2026 is going to be a phenomenal year for heavyweight boxing.
Definitely. I mean, just last few before I let you go. I know you're really close with the Usyk team and the camp out there. I mean, the reports were maybe IVB, Usyk, Wilder. Obviously, now that's probably not going to happen. I mean, to your understanding, did Usyk want the fight with Wilder? Is that what you thought was going to happen?
I think so. I think Alexander. I haven't seen him for a while. I spent a lot of time in Gandia with him, sort of 15, 18 months ago. Yeah, I love the Usyk team. They're brilliant. I was really pleased when Anthony went there. I'm close to Ben Davison as well, but I think Anthony, knowing that Ben's got Moses and Fabio, I think he's gone and he literally took his bag and got his gloves on and went to learn out there. It's a fantastic setup. Usyk is unbelievable. He's an amazing athlete. He learns every day. He's totally dedicated. The discipline is unbelievable. They've got a scientist in the team. They've got the nutrition guys, the conditioners, the trainers. There's no stone left unturned there. And I think there's no heavyweight that he hasn't turned over, really. He's done AJ a couple of times. He's beaten Tyson twice. He's beaten Dubois twice. He's beaten Derek. Wilder probably is the last name of that generation. But I think people were probably expecting him to fight Joseph Parker. If Parker had got through against Fabio Wardley, that seemed the sort of the fight that made sense. So now I guess he did want to fight Wilder because I think in America it's a big fight. Wilder's still a huge name, the Bronze Bomber, the character, and it would have been, I guess, the only other one of that generation. Now we don't know. We haven't heard Chisora and Wilder is definitive yet, and maybe Usyk wants a bit more time, and they'll fight, and Alexander fights the winner. So it could be Wilder or it could be anyone else. I know Fury still wants that third fight. There's always going to be options. Everyone wants that crack at Usyk. The fight I think I'd really like to see getting that German crowd and the sleeping giant that Germany has been for so long, the atmosphere, the electricity that was ripping through that stadium in the arena in Oberhausen a few weeks back. If they can get the Dusseldorf one, and they can get a big 50, 60,000 stadium like the Klitschko's used to fight at, and they do Usyk and Caballero, I mean, that would be unbelievable. I mean, there was a whisper or two about Vladimir Klitschko coming out of retirement too, but I think the German market's going to be really interesting, and if Caballero can continue to win, then that's going to be a fantastic place for Queensbury and boxing as a whole. Always good to have Germany, a huge football nation and a huge boxing nation, but just quiet for a while, and good to see that coming alive again. But it looks like a lot's happening in America. As you said, Ed Pereira and the team with what's happening in San Francisco all seems to have come slightly out of the blue, and breaking records and YouTube. And you're looking around, and it's like, Max, I'm surprised you haven't taken your promoter's license out and having a crack. It seems that everyone's. Zuffa Boxing starts up tomorrow night. Wow, Callum Walsh. You just look everywhere, don't you? And boxing is just all over the place. I'm just glad I'm at DAZN, the home of combat sports. So much coming up. As you mentioned, the almost like a triple treat next week. A couple on DAZN. You've got one on BBC with Boxers Show with Adam Azim. We want to see him continue to win, and that Dalton Smith rivalry. It's a fantastic time to be involved in boxing, and 2026 is going to be a blistering year, breathtaking year, a brilliant year, and one that we should all savour.
100%. And just the last one before I let you shoot off. Obviously, like I said, Zuffa Boxing, their inaugural show tomorrow. I mean, they've signed Joe Opataya. You hear all these rumors of who Dana White wants to sign. I mean, a day out from the first show, almost where do you see the home of Zuffa Boxing in the sport of boxing? Where do you think it almost sits? Because obviously, there's so many reports of what their actual plan is, and no one really knows yet, do they?
No, look, what Dana's done with UFC has been unbelievable. To have sort of almost like everything under one roof, and events, not just necessarily fighters, but making stars from storytelling and making it simple, and having the best fight the best. It's a great concept, and then that's what they're going to try and rebuild. Very difficult in the wild west of boxing with so many promoters, so many governing bodies. And I put out on my channel, The Voice of Boxing, the other day, a question about whether there should be one belt in boxing, or whether we should have all the world titles. And there's arguments both ways. The casual fans want to see who is the world heavyweight champion. Well, we know that it's Oleksandr Usyk. He's been undisputed. But there's also opportunities for young fighters coming out, and they want to win world titles one day, British, European, etc. See what Dalton Smith's done. And Dalton, had the WBC opportunity, but then there's the IBF, the WBO, the WBA. So you've got four cracks at trying to become a world champion. So it's more beneficial, I think, for the fighters to have that, but for the casual fans to understand it, it's probably easier if you've got one champion. So, as Josh Taylor put on, well, you just win them all and then you're undisputed. But not many do that. So only the real elite. But yeah, look, it's great. I think the more eyeballs on boxing, people were slagging off AJ and Jake Paul. People turn their nose up at influencers. I was at Guerrilla Promotions last week, and there were some bare knuckle boys who put the gloves on, and I respect every single man or woman that gets into that ring, Max. It's really important, right, to remember while we're doing this, because of the bravery of them. And if they go in the ring, they're putting their reputation, their livelihoods on the line for our entertainment. And good luck to all of them. That's why I like getting around the different levels of boxing, whether it's the Essex Boxing Organisation, the shows at York Hall, the big shows in Germany or in Vegas or in Riyadh. For me, it's boxing. And I think that we have to change with the times. We have to be on our toes. Obviously, it's complicated when certain things are on different channels. And when I was at Sky, we had a big monopoly. A lot of fights were on Sky, and that was great. And now they've had a bit of a break. Maybe they're going to go in with Zuffa and MVP. I'm sure they'll be back flying in 2026. Sky's good for boxing. BBC are in. Various streaming platforms, DAZN, almost every other day there's fight action. So look, for fans and for fighters, who I always come back to, fighters getting paid, that's their business, that's their livelihood, and fans getting the fights they want to see. Look, Zuffa Boxing, any boxing is good, and I think that they'll challenge the status quo. I remember when I think Frank did a deal with TNT, or whether it was Box Nation, I can't remember. He did a big deal when Eddie was with us, and then he had DAZN. And I remember we saying, "Oh, Frank's getting lively again," and Eddie's like, "Oh, yeah, come on, bring it on." I'm like, "Yeah, it's competition." And now, like Frank and Eddie are on the same platform. So you don't know how these pieces will come. It's great that promoters are working with each other. Really want to see like Boots and Virgil Ortiz this year. We're seeing Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. Turkey Al Sheikh has done a phenomenal job for boxing, getting all these big fights together. And now Dana White's come in and said, okay, I've done it with the UFC. Let's try and do it with boxing. Let's see how he goes. It's going to be fantastic, fascinating to see it. Is Eddie Hearn going to let him get away with it? What's that battle going to be like? Where's Frank sitting? Where's George Warren going to come through? Ben Shalom, the Sauerlands in the Misfits world. There's all sorts. And look what's happening in San Francisco. I mean, we all want to be part of that crowd, don't we? So
Yeah,
look, let's just sit back and enjoy it. You know, for us as broadcasters, as journalists, we can just be happy that people are choosing boxing and maybe they're not choosing, I don't know, tiddlywinks.
definitely will, Adam. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.